trigger warning. You are now watching Wrestle AM. It's half wrestling show, it's half morning show, pretty much all BS. And of course, you got half the Koco crew here holding it down live. Yours truly, sexiest man on all Internet Wrestling Radio. That's right, Boom Boom here, shaking the room live from the RVA, Richmond, Virginia. And of course, join me there way across the pond, the man too cool for England. Talk about none other than LK with his fizzy drinks. What's up, good sir?
There is nothing more cooler than an Englishman, and that is a fact. Ask your women in America. There is nothing cooler than an Englishman. And this is our NXT Takeover San Antonio preview, and more importantly, prediction show. We always have a prediction heading into a WWE TNA.
We haven't really done this. We really haven't done this a while. Dave and I used to do this all the time. We called it pay-per-view profits. We would try to predict, who was going to win. We would try to throw in random questions. It was a lot of fun. So why not do it again? And if you're new to it, it's very simple. We're going to run down the card for NXT. We're going to say who we think's going to win, and then you tell us who you think's going to win, and then we're just going to write it down. And if your pick is correct, then you get a point. And coming into the pay-per-view, the one person with the most points is the winner, and therefore the pay-per-view profit.
There we go. And just to let you know, if you're not listening to us post, like if you're not watching us live, if you're listening to us post live, if you put your predictions in the comments, I will write it down on the pad. And then during the NXT Takeover review show, I will announce who the winner is. Kocosports NXT Takeover pay-per-view profit. So I've got this little pad here for it. We're also going to be doing the Royal Rumble the exact same. So get your predictions ready. Boom, to start running this bad boy down.
All right, and I should mention that there is a deadline for this. You have until the pay-per-view starts. Once the pay-per-view starts, everything's frozen. All bets are off at that point. And, oh, yeah, be awesome because you don't actually really win anything. So, all right. Only 5 matches for NXT TakeOver, but that's about par for the course. 5 is typically what they have. It's usually a 2-hour event. This is going to be coming to you from San Antonio. Now, I'm going to start at the bottom of the card and work my way up here. Very bottom here, and this doesn't mean it's a last release. It just means it's the first match that I'm seeing here, is we're going to have Roderick Strong versus Andrade Cien Almas. This is just going to be a standard singles match. I don't know why these two are typically really just feuding. I know they had a match. Didn't they have the match the other week, or was it the week before?
I think it was the week before. But the reason, in case you didn't watch NXT, and spoiler, anyone who hasn't watched this week's NXT Booms, the spoiler is basically there was a backstage interview with Andrade Cien Almas. He was saying that I want to kick the shit out of Roderick Strong. Strong walks in saying, "Go on, do it. I fucking dare you. Kick me in the face." Almas kicks him in the face and beats the shit out of him. Build up. And people were wondering, hey, son of a bitch, where is my NXT review? Booms, sadly, could not watch NXT because his network was being a son of a bitch.
Yeah, my WWE network's down. It's not working. It keeps showing error. I've given it like an hour. So, hey, the show must go on.
It happens, but I'll do an NXT review for the Patreon pledges because there's a few Patreons coming recently, and that's in the link in the description box below. So you'll get your NXT review for tonight's show for Patreons only. Apologies.
All right. Well, looking at this on paper, I think I'm going to go with Andrade Cien Almas. I think I'm going to go with him. He's somebody that I know about a week or two ago, he was on the list of NXT talent that they were looking at calling up. I know the heel turn has done well for him, and I really felt like he needs to get some kind of win to have it to where it looks like he poses an actual threat in NXT. Roderick Strong, he's already an established guy on the independent scene, already established guy with Ring of Honor, already was established with TNA. So I think him losing doesn't really hurt him. In fact, he's still new to NXT, and I think he's got more than enough time to completely establish him. He's going to be that veteran star that they put the young guys in there to work with. So I think Andrade Cien Almas, he needs to win the most. I think that's going to help him out. It doesn't really hurt Roderick Strong that much, so I'm going to go with one of the originators of Los Ingobernables. Going to go with Mr. Almas.
I'm going to go Roderick Strong. I've got Roderick Strong written down here. I think that, he can't come into NXT, lose in the tag tournament, a feud to Almas. Now, I understand where you're coming from. This was quite a difficult one to predict, but I went with Strong because I just think that, he could be, they could do a way how Strong could get the win, and then post-match, Almas gets this heel heat back. So I think they might do it that way because I think they need to protect both. Neither man can really afford to have a loss. But I got this gut feeling, and half of this is just going my gut, other than my brain. Because when it's a pay-per-view prof, it's kind of a prediction. So it's kind of like a little guess. And my gut is just telling me Roderick Strong. And ladies and gentlemen, always go with your gut. So I'm going to go with Roderick Strong. I think this will be an okay match. It's with this whole show, I've kind of looking at it up and down on the Wikipedia page. It's probably one of the weakest looking cards that Takeover has ever done. But with that being said, that means my expectations are going to be a lot lower, which means there's a lot easier and a lot more chance that they'll blow me away. And that's what I want with NXT. But I'm going to go Roderick Strong. Lots of people probably will go Almas, but I think Roderick Strong has to get a big win on a pay-per-view because he just keeps doing it as well. So it's really difficult. I can see a dusty finish here. So maybe Almas wins by cheating, but my prediction, I'm going to stick with it because always stick with your gut, and that's Roderick Strong.
All right. And now that you mention it, and this is something me and Dave used to talk about back in the day was, if this NXT really hasn't done a well enough job, in my opinion, of building up this card. Typically, they have a pretty good formula, which I think it'll get into full swing. I think when they do the show before Mania, it'll be 10 times better in terms of storylines, in terms of builds. This, I feel like the hiatus really hurt them. So if this card is good, it will be because of the talent, not because of the company, not because of the build-up, not because of the promotion, but because strictly it will fall on the shoulders of the talent.
Completely agree. The build-up's been, it's been like 3 weeks, which is 3 hours.
Yeah, it's really been about 3 weeks worth of build-up. Because, again, I can understand taking a week or two off for Christmas. I understand that. I'm fine with that. But it's like they came back. They taped about, at least 3 shows and said, okay, this is the build-up to our pay-per-view. All right. But it's still going to be, I think it's actually going to be better on the Royal Rumble, but that's a different conversation.
No, this is one of the very first times I'm not going to agree with you on this one. I think this will be the very first time in a while that we might actually say that the WWE produced a better pay-per-view, because the Rumble itself, we don't actually know who's going to win, so it's actually unpredictable. You've got potential debuts, aka Samoa Joe, etc., Ty Dillinger in the Rumble, etc., which we'll talk about. We'll talk about that a lot more in the Rumble, but
yeah, we could talk about that in the Rumble paper preview coming up next here. But on with the card here. Here's the second of the 5 matches. We have Eric Young versus Ty Dillinger. Now, Ty Dillinger has had one hell of a story here. He has actually become a fan favorite, so they went ahead and turned him face. He fought a losing effort against Bobby Roode in a great match at NXT Toronto. He was also made part of a mini tournament to declare a new #1 contender. He made it to the Fatal 4-Way match, came really close to winning that, lost out, been kind of down on himself. Eric Young, of course, the leader of Sanity, the little band of misfits, tried to tap into that insecurity, wanted him to join Sanity. Ty Dillinger refused. This led to an attack, and plus Big Damo, now Killian Dane, going to be the newest member of Sanity. Looking at this match, I think I'm going to go with Ty Dillinger. I really felt like he needs a win. They need to throw this kid a bone. He wasn't really able to get his hands on Eric Young one-on-one. I really felt like, he always just comes up short. He always comes up short. I feel like for once, let's just give him the win. I really felt like he needs this win just to kind of a pat on the back, because, he's been a good trooper for him. He's done everything asked of him. He's a fan favorite. He's on that list of people that WWE's considered pulling up to the main roster. Eric Young, he's still going to be with Sanity. Sanity is still going to be a force to be reckoned with, so I don't think he really loses any steam or any kind of credibility if he loses this match. But I feel like if you have Ty Dillinger lose it, you kind of castrate him a little bit. Or maybe they give Eric Young the win, because you have to, you have outside interference by Sanity, so you give Dillinger the out and you get heat on Eric Young. But just me, I'm going to do the opposite. See, like with you said you went with your heart rather than your head. On this one, I'm going with my heart here. I'm going with Ty Dillinger because I'm going to give it a perfect 10.
Well, sadly, now you won't get a perfect 10 score. I think Eric Young's going to win this. And I'm not being deliberate by picking the opposite, because I'm guaranteed the next three will probably...
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. I kind of like that we're disagreeing. I kind of like that we're both laying out... We're like lawyers, man. We're kind of laying out our case here, and we're kind of letting the jury, the internet infantry, let them make up their minds.
Exactly, and like, why would I, if I think that Ty Dillinger would win, why would I not put Ty Dillinger? Because I want to win the pay-per-view profits, because I'm that competitive. Either way, I'm going to crook it so that I win. No, I'm joking. I'm going to go with Eric Young. I think that he needs to win more than Ty. Ty doesn't really need that win. He's mega fucking over. And like you said, he can't win. Enzo and Cass went up to the main roster without winning anything. Yeah, they did. They barely won. I think Eric Young gets a big win here, moves on to the NXT title scene, main roster, Royal Rumble, but we'll talk more about that on the Royal Rumble pay-per-view preview, which we're going to do live after this airs. So my prediction is Eric Young. I think he needs it more, and Ty is really, really good at recovering from a loss and setting a loss.
All right. Now we get into the championship matches. First here, we have a fatal four-way for the NXT Women's Championship match. You have the reigning defending champion, the undefeated Asuka, taking on Nikki Cross, representing Sanity, versus Billie Kay versus Peyton Royce, those two hot Aussies. I love you. I love you, Australia. I do. You don't have any ugly women. It's great. Dude, I don't know. This is a pick'em for me. This is a toss-up. Because I can make cases for virtually everyone here. For Asuka, it's you could make the case of, okay, the only thing that makes this interesting, if it was one-on-one with anyone, it would be Asuka's going to win. Asuka's going to kill you. But it's like, okay, she's beaten one, but can she beat three other women in the same night? She doesn't even have to be pinned or submitted to lose her championship. You look at Nikki Cross. Well, you got to think she's with Sanity. She may not go out there alone. She may have some backup there. Plus, she's batshit fucking crazy. What kind of crazy shit is she gonna pull in the ring? Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, even though technically they're opponents, they're partners. Are these two going to work together? Teamwork. It'll be. It could be almost like a tag team versus two individuals. But are they going to be able to put aside, their egos? Because eventually one of them's going to have, out of those two, one of them will have to win. Would Peyton, be okay with letting Billie Kay win and vice versa? It could go so many different ways, and I love it. I think I'm going to go with a wild card here. I think I'm going to go with Billie Kay. Because I figure if you're going to have Asuka lose the championship and have her stay undefeated, this is the perfect opportunity to do it, to have her lose that championship, move her up to the main roster, and have her save face, because she had to fight three other women. She did not have to be involved in the pinfall or submission to lose it, so therefore she technically keeps her undefeated streak alive. And plus, you've got Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, technically opponents, but also partners working together. I think it's a perfect out for everyone. Plus, Billie Kay could be the new lead heel. There's just I think there's a lot of different things, because it's going to kind of be like, hopefully, a better version of Lay Cool. Because remember when Layla and Michelle McCool, they were the co-women's champion this is back into the mid-2000s. I could see them doing something like that. They could either, even though Billie Kay's officially the champion, they consider themselves the co-NXT Women's Champions. or there's just a lot of different ways you can go with it. So that's why I'm going to go with the Hot Aussie Billy Kay.
Now, I'm going Asuka. Okay, I'm going
Okay.
Asuka to win because I think we're going to get Asuka versus Ember Moon at Takeover Orlando, and then beat Asuka, and Asuka can move up the night after WrestleMania and Raw or the SmackDown after, etc. But I want my internet wife, because Boom has his illustrious internet wife, Sexy Star. I have my internet wife of Peyton Royce. You should have saw her in NXT tonight.
Mateo TC, get that T-shirt in the press. We've got my Mexican internet wife. We've got LK's Japanese internet wife. It's great.
He's not Japanese.
Asuka's Japanese.
Peyton Royce.
Oh, Peyton? Australia. Okay, your Australian internet wife.
Yes, she's very nice. She should have saw an NXT Boom. She came out with nothing but jeans and a towel. Jesus Christ. I could do a whole show on that. Anyway, but I think Asuka's going to win. In my heart, Peyton, you've already won. You've already won, Peyton. But I think Asuka's going to get the wings. I think we're going to get Asuka versus Ember Moon in the big money match at the pay-per-view. The next one. Bad choice. I can't... Nikki Cross would shock me, but in a good way.
Yeah, Nikki, no, and I wouldn't. Here's the thing. I honestly think you could put the championship on anyone here, and they would be credible.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair to say. And that's a good. That's them doing a good job.
And that is good. That is very good. It's not like we've had matches before, rumbles or whatever. You're like, okay, this person can win. This person can win, but fuck this guy. Fuck this guy right here. He can't fucking win. Whatever. But this, I'm like, I'd be cool with any of them winning. Next year, we have a tag team match for the NXT Tag Team Championship. Excuse me. We have the new champions, DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, taking on the undefeated Authors of Pain, Akam and Rezar, with Paul Ellering. Authors of Pain, they won the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. They are undefeated. They have destroyed everyone that has been put in front of them. DIY has had one hell of a ride. They started out just over a year ago. They were also in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic the previous year, ran through it this year, had an amazing feud with the Revival, had a great series of matches, finally got that elusive win at NXT TakeOver Toronto in what WWE considered their match of the year, and I'd be hard-pressed to disagree. But looking at it here, I think we're going to have new tag team champions. I'm going to go with the Authors of Pain. I feel like Gargano and Ciampa are probably going to go ahead and get moved up because they could use them on 205 Live. They could use them up on the main roster as a tag team. They've got all kinds of things they could do with them. The Authors of Pain. I just don't think I'm ready for them to lose yet. I think it's no coincidence that they're with Paul Ellering, because Paul Ellering was the manager of the Road Warriors, the Legion of Doom, whatever you want to call them, Animal and Hawk. And I think that's what they're going to do with them. They're giving the Authors of Pain the Legion of Doom treatment. They are going to have them beat the shit out of everybody for probably a couple of years. I mean, seriously, how long I think they can drag this out. They're going to have them beat the shit out of everyone for a couple of years. Then I think they're going to turn them face. But you've got to establish them as badasses. Because I kind of like the idea of you put the championships on them. It's going to be basically like the Legion of Doom treatment and the Ascension probably taken to the extreme and done right. So I'm going with the Authors of Pain. They've got everything to win. DIY's got nothing to lose. So that's my pick.
I think when you get your complete score on Saturday, when you get your complete score post-Saturday, I think we might remove a point from you for mentioning the Ascension and LOD, the Legion of Doom, in the same sentence and breath. I think you should be get deducted a point from that. Shame on you, young man. Shame on you. Anyway, I got Authors of Pain as well. I think everyone will go Authors of Pain. Well, people may shut me go, oh, fuck this guy, I'm going DIY. I think, like you said, Authors of Pain will get the win. I think DIY will go to 205 Live. Still won't watch it. But I don't know. Well, there was a lot of talk about Booms in the comments and etc. People wanting to do us to cover Talking Smack. Isn't it funny that the people want the Talking Smack review but couldn't give a fuck about the 205 Live? That's brilliant. Anyway, but I go off as a pain. I think they can have a really good reign with these tag belts. Let's just look and see who can beat them, and DIY, move up to main roster, start feuding against each other, maybe even be a tag team on either SmackDown or Raw. The offers of pain getting the win. That's my prediction.
All right. And then we get to the main event, a match for the NXT Championship. You have Shinsuke Nakamura defending against Bobby Roode. Shinsuke Nakamura recently recovered the championship from Samoa Joe in Japan, won the rematch. Joe's on the shelf now. Nakamura ready to go. Bobby Roode, he became the new #1 contender by winning a couple of matches. He won a qualifying match to get to a fatal four-way, went into a fatal four-way, won that one, new #1 contender. Now this is tough. I don't know what direction WWE wants to go. I figure if you want to get the championship off Nakamura, you need to do it now, or they could wait and do it at Mania weekend, and they could do it at Mania weekend and then debut him the Monday Night Raw after Mania. And to be honest, I think they're going to do that. I think they've also teased a feud already between Nakamura and Cassius Ohno, the former Chris Hero. They've kind of teased that, and I'm thinking they need to deliver with that, especially with the championship on the line. That makes it a little bit sweeter. I think my stone cold lock of the century of the week is going to be Nakamura does debut on the main roster this year, actually this spring to be more precise, but I think they're going to wait till after Mania. I think that he's going to be the big debut on the Monday Night Raw after Mania. I hope it's a draft lottery show, but that's a different story for a different day. So I'm going to go with the champion Nakamura.
I'm going Bobby Roode because Cassius Ohno versus Nakamura, which they could do, or Hero, whatever the fuck you want to call him, that doesn't need the title. You could do Bobby Roode versus a babyface challenger, maybe Ty Dillinger, maybe Roderick Strong, maybe someone else, and then you could do Cassius Ohno versus Nakamura. Ohno beats Nakamura. Nakamura goes up to the main roster. Ohno then challenges Bobby Roode for the NXT title. Roode, main roster, Ohno versus whoever's challenging at that time. So that's why I'm going to go Bobby Roode, because the feud they're obviously doing is Nakamura, but that doesn't need the belt. That's a big enough match in its own right. And if you realize, remember last year at the Takeover before Mania, they did the Nakamura Zayn match that didn't need the belt. This can be a dream match that doesn't need the belt. And I think a loss for Nakamura can hurt. Roode's the heel. He could win by cheating, maybe pull the tights or something. But I see Bobby Roode winning the title here. And you have Nakamura, don't you?
Yes, I'm going to go with the champion Nakamura.
Okay.
All right. Now we need to come up with some tiebreakers.
Just do one. Just do one tiebreaker. Just do one tiebreaker.
Well, I need to do several. You need to do several because I've had it come down to I've gone down to like 3 or 4 tiebreakers and still had people tied. All right, so here are my tiebreakers. 1, does Sanity interfere in either match? Because they've got Eric Young and you've also got Nikki Cross. These two are going to be matches. Does Sanity interfere in either of those matches? Yes or no?
Yeah. I'll be very shocked if they don't interfere, and probably that could be the reason why Eric Young beats Ty Dillinger. So I'm going yes.
Okay.
So tiebreaker.
You know what? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes as well. All right. Next, in the Fatal 4-Way match. Now, everybody's going to have their pick of who's going to win. But my question is, who is the person who's going to eat the pin? Who's the person who's going to be pinned or submitted to stop that match?
In what? The 4-way for the
yes,
women's
the fatal 4-Way is which there's 4 women now. We've already said who we think's going to win. I've picked Billie Kay. You picked what, Asuka?
Yeah, Asuka to win, yeah.
Okay, that's who we think is going to win, but who do we think is going to eat the pin?
Okay. I'm going Billy Kay. I think Billy Kay is going to eat the pin. Asuka's going to beat Billy Kay. That's what I think.
I'm going to go Nikki Cross.
I was thinking her originally, but then I realized that her character is so wacky that I don't think she can afford to be in the fall, because then it'll make her look like a ponce. So maybe that's why. But no, that's your opinion. And there's our tiebreakers. We've got 2 tiebreakers and 5. I think that's plenty.
Okay.
And for the go on.
Do you want me to have? I got one more. I can use that one if you want.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's have 3 tiebreakers.
Okay, and the third tiebreaker is: will they basically every takeover they tend to have like, hey, here's the new hottest star or whatever popped up? Because, for example, at the takeover at Mania, before Mania, it was Bobby Roode. He was in the audience at the time watching. They popped up and shot at him. People were clapping. So, do they have someone? And I'll even give you an extra point if you can successfully tell me who that person's going to be.
Oh, dude, that's difficult. So it's someone who's going.
Someone that they're
NXT.
scouting, someone that they're trying to sign, because they did that with Bobby Roode. Now it doesn't necessarily mean they're always going to sign him, because I know Kota Ibushi was somebody on there, and Jack Gallagher was somebody that was on there. But they showed who they are. Here's their name. Yay. So I'm going to say yes, they're going to do that. And if I had a guess, and I'm going to go,
if you say Kenny Omega, I'm going to kick you from this.
No, it is not Kenny Omega.
Okay.
Besides, don't even get me started on that shit. I'm going to take a big gamble here. I'm thinking it's going to be Kyle O'Reilly.
Oh, that's a great shout. That's a really good shout. You got Kyle O'Reilly. I think that's a really good shout. Now, does Chris Hero count?
I know he's already signed. He's already in. Now, I'll tell you what. I'll give you one. I don't know if they're going to show him or not.
That doesn't really count though, because he's already been on NXT.
That
doesn't count because
I'll give you a suggestion of who else it could be. And I know.
No, I don't want to. Don't tell me, because I don't really know. I mean, there could be Kyle O'Reilly. I don't really know anyone else right now. You know what? No, I don't think there will. I don't think there will. I'm going to go no. And Chris Hero does not count, ladies and gentlemen. Chris Hero does not count. But I think Chris Hero will be the one sat in the crowd. But Chris Hero does not count because he's already signed an NXT contract. So I say no.
All right. So there we go.
Has anyone filled it in the live comments? Anyone got their predictions that I can write down?
No. Everybody's in the infantry's pretty mellow tonight. They're talking about some dream matches here. Andy Patch is talking about War Machine versus Authors of Pain. Chauncey Bullock's talking about Dolph Ziggler versus JBL. JBL versus The Miz. Clifton Smith is talking Bobby Roode versus Ty Dillinger. And Nakamura versus Cassius Ohno. JBL versus Kenny Omega. Asuka versus Flair. I think he means like Charlotte. So yeah, there's a lot of dream matches talks here, but that's it.
No pay-per-view pick'ems. Maybe they're gonna wait till post live and then put their.
Yeah, they're gonna wait till like more information leaks out on the dirt sheets. Kocosports.com, Kocosports.net. They're gonna look at it there, and then they're gonna make their predictions and make us look like fucking chumps because we're doing it first.
Bastards, smart people though, smart people. But no, please put them in, and then after NXT Takeover, we can obviously tick off while I'm breaking the show down. I can tick off who got it right, who got it wrong. And then we'll announce 2-1 the Kocosports NXT Takeover San Antonio pay-per-view profits. And that is a big prize to win.
All right. So, well, that's going to do it for us. But you need to stay here, stay tuned. Make sure you like, subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter because we've got another show coming up. We're going to run down the 2017 Royal Rumble. We're going to give our predictions on that one. So don't go anywhere. We're just going to wrap this up. We're going to start this we're going to get set up, and we're going to be right back on the air. Again, follow us YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Check us out, Kocosports.com, Kocosports.net, your home for combat sports. It's where the world goes to kick ass, and most importantly, where it's okay to be a passionate fan. So stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment. In the meantime, the moon just went bang, and I am out.